Okay, here we are. So excited to be engaging today in this dramaturgical conversation for Rivendell's Solo Voices workshop with the creative team of Aping Jane, Aurora Real de Asua's awesome play that we're so excited to be working together on over Zoom. I will let everyone in this conversation introduce ourselves. I'll start. My name is Kristen Osborn, and I am the festival curator for Solo Voices Workshop. I'm also a Rivendell Theater Ensemble member, and I'm directing one of the other pieces in this, and will be kind of a fly on the wall in this conversation, but I'm just delighted to be here with you all.
I'm Lisa Dillman. I am a longtime company member at Rivendell Theater Ensemble, and a couple of years ago I took over as literary director of Rivendell. I've been affiliated with the company since 1998, but I've been a company member since 2009, and they've produced a lot of my work, and I'm really excited to be here as part of this process. Working as a dramaturg on the festival, but in particular, this play really spoke to me, and I'm really I'm interested in talking to its author and its team about plans for the future, where the play is going, where it's been, where it came from. I'm just really excited to be part of this discussion.
Hi, my name is Aurora Real de Asua, and I am the playwright.
Hey, I'm Brenna DiStasio. I'm co-directing this wonderful play by Aurora, and I am also co-artistic director of the Story Theater.
Hey, I'm Paul Michael Thomson. I'm co-directing with Brenna DiStasio. I'm also one of the artistic directors of the Story Theater, a founding ensemble member. Rivendell was one of the first theaters that I fell in love with when I moved to Chicago, and it's always been a dream of mine to work there. I have so much respect for Lisa and for everything that she does over there and the whole theater. So it's just been an absolute dream to get to work with this team. So really excited.
Hi, yeah, I'm Zoe, and I'm associate producing with Kristen. And like she said, I will also be a fly on the wall in this conversation.
Beautiful. All right, well, we will hand it over to Lisa, and once again, are really excited to be in this Zoom with you all.
If we could start by you saying how this play came to you, how it evolved in your mind, what made you want to explore this particular subject, how it came to you.
Yeah, I've loved Jane since I was about 6 years old, and I was fed on the diet of those National Geographic Really Wild Kids videos where they would do like a 40-minute video segments about Africa or about the great deep ocean or whatever. And that was my introduction to Jane when I was like 6. And then I got those little chapter books about her with the big pictures and things like that. Mm-hmm. And the more I read about her, I was like, she's got it made. This lady's incredible. I dressed up as her for Halloween, that whole thing. But I think my love for her really came out of the fact that I come from a very scientific family. And so I came from a family where animals were always revered as just as intelligent, if not more so, than our own species. And so to see a woman who built her career on that premise, mm-hmm. she became an idol of mine instantly as soon as I heard about her. So that was the I always knew I wanted to write a play about her because I have zero scientific inclination. And so it's kind of I suck at chemistry. Like I suck. I'm really bad. I'm just terrible at it.
Not all there is to it.
No, that's true. But my brain is not good at the exactitude that is demanded of scientists. So this was my way of honoring my love for science and my love for Jane and my love for animals.
That's interesting because in reading it, I would have said this woman has a definite background in science. You completely fooled me on that one. So that's where the idea came from. But when did you start working on it and the initial kind of scribblings?
About 3 years ago or so, Greenhouse Theater had this Solo Works initiative. And so I heard that they were looking for submissions about solo plays that were biographical. And so for me, that was all the impetus that I needed to start writing it. And so as soon as I started writing it, I bought one of those like 700-page, Dale Peterson's like 700-page biography about Jane. And as I was reading it, it became very clear to me that I wanted to tell the story through the eyes of the animals and the people around her and not through her perspective, just because I think there's so much work and so many movies or biographies or plays or books that already come from her perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And what was so amazing to me about Jane was how she honored the perspectives of others, and
Right.
particularly others whom we didn't assume have perspectives to begin with.
Right.
So I thought a play that allowed those creatures to tell the story would be one that I think she would really find a hoot and a half and find entertaining. And that would be more in keeping with her ethos and her style. And then selfishly, as the person performing it, I got into theater because as an actor, all I've ever wanted to do was to play other species. So I just started sitting down and I was like, okay, what would I want to play? I would want to play a monkey. I would want to play a spider. I would want to play a horse. I would want to play a dog. And just allowing that joy, which I think is also really prominent in Jane in all her work and all her writing, is this deep sense of joy and excitement for all aspects of life. And that, I think, is something that enthused the shape of it.
So as you've been working on it together, now when did you all come together? Were you working on it in person before you were working on it on Zoom? Did you ever have a rehearsal, for example, in a room rather than a Zoom room?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, Jenna, or Brenna, Paul, and I met in the real world, but we've
Right.
been working on this play specifically online on Zoom.
I think we were set to start rehearsal like the week of the lockdown.
Yeah.
We
April
all had
1st.
that rehearsal.
Yes, and we were so excited to do this workshop on it. But what's been so nice is that thinking about what gifts this can give us, and for us, we've seen that means a really sharp focus on the script and on the text work, which is very much in alignment with our company's mission, and something that I know that Rivendell as a new works kind of hub values as well. And so this has really given us the opportunity to take a fine-tooth comb to every layer of the script.
I had one question about Grub, because he's listed as one of the narrators.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I don't think he appears in the play. So I just wondered where...
I think you found probably our first typo.
I wondered.
He used to be in the play.
We're getting to that section tomorrow, so that'll be
Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not
come
tomorrow.
through. Yeah. At our next rehearsal.
Next rehearsal, my computer is threatening suicide every hour. So, but no. So Grub used to be in the play. Grub used to be. I really wanted Grub to be one of the narrators, and then felt strongly that none of the narrators should be human, and that while humans can come in the parts and have their say, every part should be led by a different type of consciousness. So that's probably why you saw the bones of what was the bones of Grub.
The skeleton.
And one of the things
skeleton
that we're doing in the kind of table work of this all and the script work that we mentioned is we are taking, since she's divided it into this wonderful 4-section, it's the perfect framing device for us to go through. So we've gone through sections 1 and 2, and we're always looking, does this section do the thing it says it's going to do? If it's the causation section, is each image an action tied to the causation of Jane, declaring a life as a scientist, wanting to travel to the Gombe, etc. And then the second thing we're looking at is, does the narrator that is in charge of this section, are they in charge? And are they guiding us through? And there's almost this like, safari guide or whatever, are they taking us through
a safari guide,
right? Are they taking us through this part of the play, this part of the jungle, like they said they were going to? Are we safe with them, etc.? And then the third thing we're looking at that I love that you picked up on, because we haven't touched on it too much other than in the first section, but we are looking at this theme of maternity and matriarchy patriarchy, and how is that being threaded through the play. And one thing that we've kind of decided is that Aurora wants Van to be visible in each of the 4 parts, so that she would be the only person who is there in all 4 sections. The only character who is there in all 4 sections, and that we're hoping that kind of like knocks that maternity theme home, because I think as you mentioned, and it's something that we talked about, Aurora, like in your interview when we were first considering this play, is like, yeah, I see that that kind of nugget of the maternal, it's like the pearl, it's totally there, it catches your eye, but I'm like, all right, this is like such a great theme, let's really make it a delicious feast, you know? So that's what we're working on. So we're getting to section 3, and the narrator of that, I don't know.
Are there any of the sections that you feel are done? Like
No. Oh my God. No. So what we've been, no. So some of your questions, I'm like, oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I've been basically like revamping every section every week, or like Paul was saying, like that's the structure. So we've done the first pass of the first one. I'm working right now on the first pass of the second one, which, guys, is going to be a lot longer than we thought. Sorry. And then the third one will come, and the fourth one will come. And it's exciting because I wrote this 3 years ago, and it's really exciting to see what sticks and what I really thought I nailed, and what I'm like, whoa, I have no idea why this is here, or there are huge gaps here. And the way that I worked on this one is I basically just sat with a 700-page biography, and I would read until I hit something that I thought was like interesting, and then I would write from that. And then once I ran out of juice, I would keep reading until I hit something else that was interesting, and I would write from that. So now as I'm rewriting, I'm going through both the script on one hand and the book on the other, and I'm seeing all of the things that made it into the play and all the things that didn't. And there's a lot of things that didn't make it into the play that I think are actually really vital to the play. So it's been cool to kind of, and I can see all my old markings and underlinings and things like that. So it's like I'm in conversation with my 3 years ago self about what we thought was important of the story, and very much rehashing it and revamping it and making sure that it's tighter and deeper and more precise.
Well, and one thing I just want to brag on Aurora for a moment, because Lisa, you and I have talked about this before. Like, we at The Story have worked with, we're committed to new playwrights, emerging playwrights, and we have worked with so many incredible, brilliant, genius playwrights. We've been very, very lucky. But one thing that Aurora has done that I have kind of found is very unparalleled is the generative quality is so high. I mean, she is able to bang out pages of text in a way that, I mean, Brenna, if you want to speak to this too, like in a way that I haven't seen a early career playwright be able to do. And she's so unprecious about cutting stuff, editing, throwing things against the wall, seeing what sticks.
Like a perfect collaborator.
Totally. It's just, there's a creative energy that I haven't found in many other early career playwrights. So it's really.
Yeah. When we first read the first draft, Aurora, that you gave us of this, I mean, the whole team was like blown away. It was one of the best plays we had read. And what's been really amazing when we started this process is that Aurora right off the bat was like, you know what, I want to double this play. I want to take what I have and just fully expand every section. And Paul and I were a little like, okay, like, are you going to be able to come up with, how are you going to do that? And you've already done sections 1 and 2. We're diving into section 3 tomorrow. It's been really exciting. And the material that Aurora is bringing into each rehearsal after having about a full week to expand, which isn't that much time a week in and of itself, it's been golden material. And you've really beautifully, as someone who is aware of who Jane Goodall is and knows of her career, but doesn't know her as a scientist as intimately as you do. But I do know theater, and I know plays, and I know dramatic structure. Same with Paul. It's been a really beautiful meeting of minds between what we feel like can be enhanced from the theatrical perspective, marrying the knowledge that you have and the science and the research into creating these beautifully expanded sections. And the play is it's beautiful, and it's only getting better and better. It's very exciting to watch you work.
You guys are so sweet. But I will say, to give you guys the credit, it is easier writing a play about not only a biography, but a biography of a scientist, because there is so much information. And I think what's been so useful about working with the two of you guys in this process is what we found is, it's like we found the language, right? Or we found the translation or the mood that everything wants to be set in. And so because the style is so clear between the three of us, all I have to do is find the relevant data and push it through. And then the data just gets kind of changed by the style that we've decided on. So I will say, like, it's not like I'm generating it all out of thin air. Like there's a bevy of information, and then you guys have created just like an amazing structure of play for that data to go through.
Well, that's one question that I wanted to actually ask you, Lisa, is something that we've also been talking about is the structure. Brenna and I both, obviously, as you know, people who've worked on new play development, understand play structure. But for me, this is my first one-person show. And the structure of that feels different. You know, we've talked a lot about, like, we need to make sure that the literal tempo rhythm of the show, we can't just have big monologue, big monologue, big monologue. We have to switch it up. We have to create the arc that would normally come from dialogue or, you know, movement or whatever it may be between multiple actors. And so I wanted to ask you dramaturgically if there's any advice or things that you would love for us to keep in mind when working on a one-person show that perhaps differs from a traditional, let's say, Aristotelian drama.
You know, I don't. I didn't have any problem with it in that way. You know, I haven't worked on it, and I've only read 2 drafts of it. I've read Pale Ape.
Yeah, terrible title. That's why we had to change the title. Horrible title. Die.
Well, I do like Aping Jane much better than Pale Ape, but
I have to credit my boyfriend for that, but thank you.
Sorry. But I've never worked on a one-person show before. And I feel like there's an awful lot of variety in this play, you know, just like bouncing from styles, but never feeling so jarred that I can't go there with the piece. And I know that from what I've heard about Aurora as a performer, she's going to take us there too. You know, she's going to more than be able to take us there. So I don't know that, I guess I'm not qualified to answer that particular question, but I did not, you guys have clearly been working on it. I have not had I had no stops in my reading to say, wow, that would get long and boring there. Or, you know, why is that so jumpy and staccato there? Or anything like that. I just kind of rolled with it, and it took me along. So.
And Aurora,
if it ever doesn't take you along, please let me know.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I was very impressed, like, as you were saying just now, Paul, about the difference between the drafts.
Yes.
Between Pale Ape and
huge.
The draft that I read yesterday.
And that's only
hugely.
That's only with that was at 1 week of work. Yeah. So really, I mean, it's yeah, we're excited about where it's going. Aurora, one thing that I wanted to, oh, sorry. What did you say, Lisa?
We've got ourselves an overachiever here.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, okay. I'm not the overachiever. The overachiever is Dale Peterson, who decided to write a 700-page biography about literally the details this man found about her. Like, he'll have passages where he was like, and that day, Jane went with her friend Chloe, and they ate 3 sandwiches, and one was cucumber, and one was lemon thyme. I'm like, how do you know this, Dale? How do you know this? And am I supposed to put this in this? Is this important? Why did you put this in? There's no point to this.
Show us the sandwich scene.
The lobby.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Aurora, then kind of the same token, I know you wrote this show specifically as a one-person show because that's what had been called for when you initially did the submission for the Trellis project.
Yeah.
I, as a writer and an actor, and even I will say as an audience member and a producer, I have this big fear of one-person shows. There's something about one-person shows, maybe they've gotten a bad rap, maybe I think it's that people haven't seen enough of them.
Right.
I think they have the idea of what a one-person show is and haven't,
right.
You know, because actually now that I think about it, like I love the Anna Deavere Smith one-person shows.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have always loved that kind, or like Lily Tomlin, right? Famous one off Broadway, can't remember the title. But I wondered if you had any of that same trepidation, because I feel like there is a kind of unspoken nervousness around one-person shows in the theater community.
Yeah, no, I fucking love one-person shows. I've always loved them. But I think I've always loved them because to me they reminded me of clowning and commedia. There's something so theatrical about them. And I've loved watching, as a kid, I've always loved this, watching one person transform into another thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. And it was that magic of metamorphosis that got me hooked into theater in the first place. And the idea that I could watch someone, in this case me, become a mouse, like that was my starting point, right? I was like, oh my God, I put on this pair of little ears and I'm a mouse, and how do I move my body differently, and then I take them off and I'm something else. And to watch the magic of that is something that I think is really cool and unique to theater. And at a time when we're getting our stories literally every which way, like we're getting them now via Quibi, and now we're getting them via like TikTok, and we're getting them via streaming, and we're getting books and poems. Theater is the only thing where you can watch someone be 30 different things in the space of 15 minutes with no special effects. You know, there's a transformation to that, and there's something ancient to that. And there's something so joyful and giddy about it, that there's no technological expertise, there's no money, there's just imagination. And it's like, how much imagination do you have? And I think maybe why it works well for this play is because Jane herself had so much imagination to begin with. You know, that was something, that kind of play and joy and that ability to transform and lend the potential for transformation to other species. She always had that generosity, and she always had that spirit of play. And so when I was writing this, I was like, oh my God, of course it's going to be a one-woman play. And of course there's not going to be a woman in it. Well, I mean, there's women in it, but you know, there's primarily dogs and animals. And what I hope is beings Jane would rather see on stage than other humans.
Totally. I feel like, and Lisa, maybe you can speak to this as a literary manager and someone who reads a lot of new plays. I think that's what kind of caught my eye about this script in the first place, and something that, Brenna, obviously we've talked a lot about at the story as part of our mission to produce plays, because I read a lot of new scripts that are awesome scripts, so well written, genius, and they are Netflix series. They are not plays. You know what I mean? They are not, there's nothing that mandates that they be performed in a theater. And that is so important to me, because I remember we read this, I don't know if you remember this, Brenna, we read this essay in college about if we as theater artists try to do what film does, we will always lose, because film can do it better.
Right.
We can only do what we can do. Like we have to instead do what film can never do. And that means leaning into the theatricality of a play. So I do think that is, yeah, you've totally hit the nail on the head, Aurora.
Yeah.
Are you saying I should put nails into my play?
I am.
Should we have a talking nail?
I think so, yeah.
One of the sections. Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Paul Michael, and thank you for answering it so beautifully, Aurora. Gosh, this is so packed.
No, I'm popping back in just to say, like, this has been such a joy to get to hear this conversation. And, we're all in this experimental Zoom digital process world, and having such generous people, talking about the work and exploring it, it's just been a delight to get to have the conversation. And I know we all have other Zoom meetings to Zoom off to. But
that was a brilliant pun. That was a great pun.
It was pretty, it was awful. But just to say thank you all.
I feel very, very sated with information and humor and fun, and I thought this was just lovely to speak with all of you, and thank you so much.
Thanks for your
insight,
Lisa. This was so it was like a breath of fresh air. We've been having so much fun, the three of us, and sometimes Kristen joining us, four of us, but it was nice to get new eyes on the script and be asking questions that maybe we hadn't thought about, or things or afraid this brilliant person also sees that too. So that has been really wonderful. So thank you for the generosity.
And we can't wait. I can't wait to talk to you again once the draft is finalized, to hear again your
absolutely
once we've pushed this second one out, to hear your thoughts and to hear how it's grown and stuff like that.
Absolutely, I would just love that.
Yay. Well, thank you all again, and we'll be so excited eventually to return to this project in an in-person reading once we're all able to gather again. I hugely appreciate your time and hope you have a good rest of the day.